She stitched the same old dress again, not knowing tonight her destiny would change forever. Maria had long accepted that life wouldn't give her gifts without first testing her strength. Working double shifts as a nurse in the pediatric ward, she spent her days comforting sick children, and her nights sewing up her old faded dress so she could look presentable at work. Her mother's medical bills, her little sister's school fees, and the endlessly rising rent had eaten away every dream she once had for herself. When the hospital announced a charity dinner night, an event every staff member was encouraged to attend, Maria simply smiled and clapped like everyone else, though she knew she had no way of buying anything new to wear. She had one dress, pale blue, washed so many times it had lost its color and shape. But she stitched it again, like always, hoping no one would notice the seams. On the morning of the event, she had another long shift. Room 207 held the newest young patient, Ethan, a 12-year-old boy recovering from an accident. His father, Daniel Hayes, stayed beside him day and night, barely sleeping, always thanking Maria for every little thing she did. Daniel was gentle but broken inside. He had recently lost his wife in the same accident that left his son fighting for his life. Maria treated them with the same kindness she offered everyone, but something about this father-son pair tugged at her heart. She saw the worry in the father's tired eyes, the love he had for his boy, and the fear he carried that he might lose his last remaining family. She always spoke softly to Ethan, reading him stories, making silly faces to make him smile. She became their light in those dark hospital nights. That evening, an hour before the charity event, Maria rushed to the locker room, changed into her old blue dress, and looked at herself in the mirror. She sighed. Her hair was tied neatly, but no hairstyle could hide the exhaustion carved into her features. She took a deep breath, convincing herself that it didn't matter how she looked. What mattered was her duty. But deep in her heart, she wished she could feel beautiful just once. She walked back to room 207 to check on Ethan one last time before leaving for the event. Ethan beamed when he saw her. "You look pretty, Nurse Maria," he said. Maria's cheeks warmed. "Thank you, sweetheart." Daniel, sitting at the bedside, looked up and froze for a moment. There was something in his eyes she couldn't place. Admiration? Surprise? Sadness? She wasn't sure. "You're heading to the charity dinner?" he asked. "Yes," she replied with an awkward smile. "It's nothing fancy, just something the hospital does every year." There was a quiet pause. Daniel stood up, walked closer, and gently touched the sleeve of her dress. "This dress, it's old. You deserve better." Maria immediately pulled her arm back, embarrassed. "I will be late," she said quickly. "You both take care." She left before he could say another word. As she walked down the hospital corridor, she heard whispers from a few nurses who wore sparkling new gowns and perfect makeup. "Same dress again," one muttered. "Some people shouldn't attend," another whispered. Maria pretended not to hear them, but her heart cracked a little more with every step. The event hall glittered with lights and laughter. Maria stood quietly near the back, invisible among the wealthy donors and elegantly dressed staff. She felt out of place, small, unnoticed, unworthy. Just as she was about to leave early, someone called her name from behind. She turned around and gasped. Daniel stood there, still in his wrinkled shirt and tired eyes, but with a determined expression. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "I didn't mean to embarrass you earlier. I came here because you shouldn't be standing alone." Maria blinked in confusion. "You left Ethan?" "He's with another nurse. I needed to say something before it's too late." "Too late for what?" Before Daniel could answer, the hospital director called Maria to the stage unexpectedly. She stepped forward, confused, as he praised her kindness, dedication, and tireless service. The entire hall applauded her. Daniel watched her more deeply than ever before, and that moment,
when she stood under the spotlight wearing her faded dress, is when his heart decided something he had never expected. When Maria stepped down from the stage, her heart raced, not from pride, but from disbelief. She had never imagined anyone would recognize her efforts. But applause didn't change the truth. She still felt like the girl wearing a patched-up dress. She quietly slipped out of the hall to breathe. Outside, the cool breeze soothed her embarrassment. Moments later, Daniel approached her again, this time with a gentle, almost nervous smile. "Maria," he said, "I didn't lies. You did not let me finish earlier." She folded her arms slightly, unsure. "Daniel, you don't have to say anything. I know what I look like. I know my dress is—" "Stop," he interrupted firmly, but kindly. "Your dress is old, yes, but you shine brighter than anyone in that room." Maria's breath hitched. No one had ever spoken to her like that. He continued, "You took care of my son when I was falling apart. You stayed up nights for him. You read to him. You made him laugh. You reminded me that the world still has good people. And I want to give something back, starting with the question I didn't get to ask." Maria's heart beat faster. "What question?" Daniel stepped closer, yet kept his voice soft, respectful. "Maria, will you be my first date since my wife died?" The world fell silent. Maria froze. She looked at him, really looked at him. The grief in his eyes, the sincerity, the hope. She felt her own tears rising. "Daniel, I'm nobody. I can't even afford a dress." He shook his head. "You're someone who saved my son, someone who saved me, and I don't care about dresses. I care about you." She turned her face away, overwhelmed. "People will talk." "Let them talk," he whispered. "Let them talk about a good man finding a good woman." Maria's tears finally spilled. She didn't answer, not with words. She simply nodded. And Daniel smiled for the first time in months. But their moment wasn't complete until one more voice joined in. "Dad!" Maria turned. Ethan stood at the door with a nurse, holding a small paper in his hand. He said, "I wrote something. For you both." He gave Maria a folded note. She opened it slowly. Her heart melted as she read the messy handwriting. "Nurse Maria, thank you for making my dad smile again. Please say yes." Maria couldn't hold back her laughter and tears. She crouched down and hugged Ethan. "I said yes," she whispered. Later that night, Daniel gently walked her home, not caring that her neighborhood was simple or that her dress was faded. Under the streetlight, he paused. "Maria, tonight you called yourself nobody, but to us, you're the reason we're standing again." She looked up at him, tears shimmering. "And you're the first person who made me feel seen." He reached out his hand, and this time she didn't pull away. That was the beginning, not of a fairy tale, but something deeper. Two broken hearts choosing to heal together. And when Daniel finally dropped her at her small apartment, he whispered, "Next week, a real date, a beautiful dress, my treat." Maria laughed through her tears. "Only if it's not too expensive." "It's priceless," he replied, "because it's for you." And as she walked inside, clutching Ethan's little note, Maria realized something she had forgotten long ago. She deserved love. She deserved happiness. And this time, life was finally giving her both. Like and subscribe to Inspiration Stories Box for more heart-touching stories.